Hello folks, it is Sunday, July 30th. In this video, I'll be talking about the upcoming BRICS Summit, August 22nd through the 24th, and the rumor that they will be announcing a gold-backed currency at that summit. So if we start with asking the question, have they made an official announcement that they're going to announce this currency? And of course, the answer is no. There has been no official agenda released yet. There will be prior to the event, I'm sure. Let's take a look at the official website. Here it is, and they do a new website for each summit. So this website is specifically for the Summit 15. If we dig through the website, and I have, all we find, the only hints that we find at what will be discussed is, well, there's this telling us specifically, we haven't released the agenda yet. A comprehensive statement on the substantive issues to be covered at the summit will be issued at some time in the future. So at this point, they have not officially announced what will be discussed at the summit. If we keep digging around in the website, we find this. This is a joint statement from BRICS ministers, June of 2023. And if we scroll down, item 12, we find ministers underscored the importance of encouraging the use of local currencies in international trade and financial transactions. And so what they're talking about here is using local currencies instead of the US dollars to settle their international trade agreements. And of course, that's already started to occur. We've got oil contracts being denominated in the Chinese yuan. Russia and India are doing trade deals. Russia is accepting Indian rupees. They're starting to grumble a little bit about accepting rupees, because what do you do? One of the reasons that the US dollar is used almost exclusively, or certainly in the past exclusively, for international trade is that there are broad markets based in the US dollar. And so as a country, when you're trading and you receive US dollars for your goods, you know that you can do something with those US dollars. You can buy US treasuries. You can buy exports from other countries because everybody accepts the dollar, etc. In contrast to, okay, now you've done some trade and you've got Indian rupees. Well, you can't buy US treasuries for Indian rupees. You got to have US dollars. Germany probably doesn't want to sell you steel, for example, in Indian rupees. And of course, Germany's got economic issues right now. Because they sanctioned cheap gas from Russia, but that's a whole other topic. But anyway, so the only clue that we have about what will be discussed in regard to currencies at the upcoming summit is this statement 12 here, encouraging the use of local currencies. That is not a new BRICS currency, much less a gold-backed currency. So at this point, there is no official announcement of a gold-backed currency being discussed at this upcoming summit. That could change, but as of today, that's where we're at. And then recently, this is July 20, we got a statement from, this is Anil Shukla. I'm probably horribly mispronouncing her name. I apologize, or his name. This is South Africa's ambassador at large for Asia and BRICS. And he or she specifically said, there's never been talk of a BRICS currency. It's not on the agenda. And so, that's, I don't know what you call this official, but this is an ambassador for South Africa telling us that there's no BRICS currency on the agenda for this upcoming summit. Another idea that supports the idea that there won't be a discussion of a BRICS currency at this upcoming summit is that Putin will not be attending in person. Sergei Lavrov will be going to represent Russia, but Putin will not be at this summit. And you would think that something as big and as important as announcing a gold-backed BRICS currency, that you'd want to have Putin present for that kind of an event, that scale of an event. So anyway, that just to summarize so far, we do not have an official announcement that any topic related to a BRICS currency will be discussed at this upcoming summit. So what is the news based on? There's been lots of people talking about this gold-backed currency that supposedly will be announced at the upcoming summit. Well, it started with a tweet from the Russian embassy in Kenya. We'll take a look here. So this is the Russian embassy in Kenya, and this is what they said. The BRICS countries are planning to introduce a new trading currency which will be backed by gold. More and more countries. And notice again, this tweet is not saying that this will occur at the upcoming summit. There is no mention of a date of when this announcement will occur, only that it's being discussed. Planning to introduce a new trading currency, which will be backed by gold. Yeah, okay, when? But this tweet from the Russian embassy has been blown all out of proportion, in my opinion, and has evolved to the idea that at the upcoming summit, they're going to announce a gold-backed currency. And it's kind of like, it reminds me of the telephone game, where Johnny tells Susie and Susie tells Sally, and by the time you get around the circle, the original message is long gone and totally changed. But so anyway, this is where the news, I'm doing air quotes around news, started about this gold-backed currency idea. This was July 3rd. A few days later, we get RT News. And so RT News is state-sponsored, so it's a somewhat official outlet for Russia. And so on July 5th, we get them announcing, RT announcing, they're talking about the same idea, gold-backed currency, but again, no mention of a date. Only that it's being talked about. The BRICS group is set to introduce a new currency backed by gold. Set to introduce. That they're not saying that that's going to happen at the upcoming summit. Only that it's going to happen at some point in the future. And if you watch the video, you'll find the same thing. That there's nothing in the video that says a specific date. It's just the idea is being discussed. So RT picked up on the tweet from the Kenyan embassy, talked about it in this news brief, and then we get any number of analysts quoting this new news, I'm doing air quote again around news, from RT as though it were fact somehow. And of course, this is the most extreme example I've seen of this. And so here's a tweet from Willem Middelkoop saying, "It's official. RT says new BRICS currency will be gold backed." Well, okay, so I guess he's not actually saying this is going to happen at the summit, but he's saying it's official. Well, no. RT didn't say that the new BRICS currency will be gold backed. RT said that it's being discussed. And so anyway, he's blowing the RT news out of proportion, and RT is blowing this tweet out of proportion. And so we've got any number of analysts who are quoting RT, they're quoting this tweet, and then they're quoting each other. And so we've got this echo chamber supporting the idea that there's going to be a gold-backed currency announced at the upcoming summit. And I don't think that that is the case. Now, if you go back and listen to my videos from, 5-6 weeks ago, I was all on board with this idea. I was saying that, yeah, they're going to announce gold-backed currency and it's going to be a world-shaking, earth-changing event, and of course now I've had more time to think about it and do some research. And if I were placing a bet today, I would bet that there will not be any discussion of gold, any publicly announced discussion of a gold-backed currency coming out of the BRICS summit, much less an announcement that will occur in the future. Perhaps they will discuss it as a possibility. So what is this? Let's move on. So I don't think it will happen at the summit, but let's continue and talk about the idea of a gold-backed currency. And in particular, notice that people are talking about gold-backed. They are not talking about a currency which is exchangeable for gold. Two very different things. So gold-backed, that's, it's me, I set up a bank. So it's Brian's bank. And I tell you that I'm going to issue Brian bucks, and I'm going to back them with gold. And I'll even take pictures. I'll open my vault and I'll show you, look, there's the gold right there. I'm backing my Brian bucks with gold, only you can't have the gold. Who cares? So it's, okay, so it's gold backed. If I can't exchange my Brian bucks for gold, I don't care that you're claiming it's gold backed. People lie. Human beings lie. And unfortunately, that's the history of currencies, even gold-backed currencies. People lie, currencies are manipulated, and ultimately currencies fail because they're not gold, they're currencies. So anyway, I've seen people talking about 10% backing, as much as 30% backing, but who cares? Unless it's 100% backing and exchangeable for gold. That's the key point, is exchangeable. So even 100% backing, it's like, yeah, okay, 1 for 1. I've got, for every Brian buck I issue, I've got that much gold sitting in the vault. But you still can't have the gold. So who cares? Again, even 100% backing, that is not an exchangeable currency. It's just a gold-backed currency. And so key point here is that we don't really care about gold-backed currencies. That's not honest money. That's my main point. A gold-backed currency is not honest money. It's a step in the right direction, but it's not all the way. It's not all the way back to gold as money, honest money. Let's see. So all currencies are manipulated and ultimately fail. And this is my opinion. Trust in currencies right now is very low. And so one of the challenges of introducing a new currency is getting people to trust and use it. And that statement applies whether you're talking about crypto, paper currency, gold-backed currency, any currency that you introduce at this particular point in history, in my opinion, it's got a tall hurdle to jump because trust has been lost in currencies. We've been debasing fiat currencies since at least 1971. That's, 50 plus years that we've been debasing fiat currencies, and trust is at a low ebb at this point. I did a little bit of research on this idea of trust in currencies. How do you establish it? How is it lost? And I've got some more research to do on that, and I'll cover this specific topic in a separate video. But for now, I'm just stating that my opinion, my bias is believing that the trust in currencies is very low globally right now. And of course, we have recent examples with the sanctions against Russia, sanctions against China, sanctions against Venezuela, Argentina. I mean, I think the U.S. has sanctions right now on 30 plus countries. And so, all of those countries have a reason to distrust certainly the U.S. dollars, but currencies in general. If you can sanction one currency, you can sanction another one. And so sanctions are one of the planks causing distrust in currencies. And then the other one is just outright theft. And of course, they're not calling it theft, but, grabbing Russian assets, $300 billion worth of Russian reserves, just seized, stolen. I'm willing to say stolen. That's my First Amendment right to state my opinion. The United States government stole $300 billion of Russian reserve currencies. And so anyway, that's my opinion. Trust in currencies right now is very low. And that's one of the challenges that will have to be overcome for anybody to introduce a new currency, whether it's gold-backed or not. So this discussion of gold-backed currencies reminded me of Jim Sinclair, and when he talked about gold-backed currencies, he suggested that it would happen in steps, that there would be an initial price of gold chosen as backing for the currency. Whichever gold-backed currency happened first, they'd pick a number, $3,000 an ounce, $5,000 an ounce, whatever the number is, that they would pick that number, and the currency would work for a little while and then fail, and that number would have to be increased. So, maybe we start at 3,000 or 5,000, and then a couple of years down the line, we have to increase that to 10,000 because, these numbers weren't working anymore. And Jim suggested that the ultimate price of gold would rise as high as $74,000 an ounce. And I know that just seems like a crazy number, ridiculously high number. His analysis to arrive at this number was based on balancing the books of the United States. That basically, if you took the outstanding debt of the United States against the 8,000 tons of gold that the United States claims to hold, you'd need a price per ounce of $74,000 in order to balance the books. And Jim further pointed out that that's exactly what happened in 1981. When gold reached $850 an ounce, that exactly balanced the books, liabilities against gold as an asset, of the United States at that time in 1981. Now this $74,000 an ounce, this was Jim 10 years ago. And so today, his analysis wouldn't arrive at $74,000 an ounce. It'd be a much higher number, significantly higher number. I haven't seen anybody use Jim's methodology to arrive at a number based on current liabilities and debt levels, but it would be significantly higher than 74,000. And key point, and Jim pointed this out in his works, that's just for the United States. That's not globally. And so if we're talking about a new global reserve currency, we have to balance the books globally. And again, that would lead us to a price much higher than $74,000 an ounce. Now, one of the clues we can get at, or look at to get an idea of what this number might be globally is Exeter's pyramid. And so if we look at Exeter's pyramid, it's showing that all of the financial machinations, vehicles, however you want to look at it, rest on a base or a foundation of gold. And Exeter posited, his theory was that as currencies collapsed, as the financial economic systems collapsed, trust in currencies collapsed, money would flow down this pyramid and ultimately arrive in gold. And that's essentially what Jim was saying, is that ultimately we arrive with gold balancing the books against all of this crap. And so if we look at globally, just derivatives, so we're not talking about unfunded liabilities, all of this other stuff, commercial real estate, which is crashing, government issued bonds, which are crashing in value. Strictly looking at derivatives, we've got 3.2 quadrillion. That's 1,000 trillion, that's a quadrillion. So we got 3.2 quadrillion dollars worth of derivatives. And all of that ultimately has to be represented in gold. And anyway, again, we would arrive at a much bigger number than $74,000 an ounce. Now, do we ever get there? Who knows? Stick around. Will it occur in our lifetimes? I don't know. Again, we'll find out. But that's Exeter's pyramid just gives us an idea of how much paper debt there is in existence globally, supported on this very small amount of gold. And so to resolve all of these liabilities, because all of this is debt, gold has to reach a much higher price than it's at today. So now we're back to talking about the announcement. I believe an announcement will occur at some point. I don't think it's going to happen at this upcoming summit. But at some point, we will get an announcement, an official announcement of a gold-backed currency or a return to gold as money. Now, I think my current thinking is it's more likely that either Russia or China will announce that they are backing their currency with gold. I think that's more likely than a BRICS announcement of gold-backed currency. The infrastructure to create a new currency, it's too steep a hill for an organization like BRICS to climb, and I'll talk about that in some future videos. But you've got the legal considerations. It's like, okay, you've got a new reserve currency, and let's say you and I are doing a transaction, a contractual transaction in that new reserve currency, and we have a legal issue. Okay, well, what court has jurisdiction over this new reserve currency? What country trusts another country to turn over their legal sovereignty to that organization for this, contractual agreement based on this new reserve currency? Anyway, the infrastructure to introduce a new currency is broad and deep, and it just doesn't exist at this point, in my opinion. And so anyway, I think it's more likely that Russia or China announces a gold-backed currency or a return to gold as money, which that's what we'd like to see. Honest money, gold as money. That's the ultimate, the pinnacle. Again, will we see that in our lifetimes? I don't know. But what does an announcement accomplish? When we get the first official announcement of a gold-backed currency, what does that accomplish? Well, it's validation of gold as money. Even if it's not a return to gold as money, it validates the idea that gold is the only honest money on the planet. And that, of course, is my opinion and my bias. Gold is the only honest money on planet Earth. A validation of gold as money would lead to a bump or an increase in the price of gold in all currencies. US dollar, euros, basically gold would jump stair-step higher to a new level based on a new level of trust or a new level of belief in gold as money. And then, of course, silver and the mining stocks would follow gold higher. And, of course, you know, those two things right there, that's my selfish interests. This is what I want to see, my bias. I'm I'm heavily invested in the precious metals, got a fair amount of mining stocks, and so I'd love to see it all go higher. Another thing that an announcement, the first announcement, will accomplish, it will accelerate the de-dollarization process. This process is already well established. It's a trend that is gaining speed. This first announcement will accelerate that trend, and it will bring more people and more countries into the honest money camp, which, you know, it's another way of saying that it will accelerate the process. So what is the announcement, the first announcement, whenever it occurs, what does it not accomplish? Well, it's not a return to honest money. I've said that numerous times already. And it does not establish a new reserve currency, in my opinion. A gold-backed currency, well, I guess I'm waffling now on that. But a gold-backed currency, in my mind, is not the next reserve currency. The trust threshold is too high at this point to jump. You know, gold-backed currency is not going to reestablish, and this is my next bullet point. A gold-backed currency is not going to restore trust in money on a country-to-country level or on a person-to-person level. The distrust in money at this point is just too high. And again, that's me stating my opinion. In further videos, I will be talking, I'm going to explore more, I want to do some research, this idea of trust in currency. What is it that makes people trust currencies and countries trust currencies? What will it take to get a return of honest money? You know, gold as money. What is that going to take? And then what does de-dollarization look like? What does that process look like? Is it messy? Does it happen quickly? Does it happen slowly? And so I'll explore that in further videos. I would point out that Bob Moriarty, in interviews I've done with him, he always says, or he maintains that we will go back to gold as money because it's simple and it works. And I just want to reiterate that because it's very true. It's a very gold as money is very simple. Gold is gold. You know, I hand you an ounce of gold and now you got an ounce of gold in your hand. It's not a Brian's buck. It's not a BRICS buck. It's not a Russian ruble. It's not an Indian rupee. It's a gold. It's a chunk of gold, and we all know that gold has value. And so, when you're looking to introduce a new currency, reestablish trust in currencies, gold is the ultimate. And I suspect that's part of Bob's thinking when he suggests that we're going to go directly back to gold as money. So, anyway, that's all I've got in this video. I don't want to go past 30 minutes. I look forward to talking to you again in the next one.